Welcome to our comprehensive guide on mastering English grammar. Whether you're a student, professional, or just someone looking to improve your language skills, this video will walk you through over 150 essential grammar rules, common mistakes, and practical tips. We'll cover everything from nouns and pronouns to verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, and conjunctions. Each rule is explained with clear examples, making it easy to understand and apply in your daily writing and speaking. Let's embark on this journey to make your English more accurate and confident. Start with a simple but often overlooked rule. When you define or describe a noun, use a colon after it. For example, instead of writing Thursday, the most spiritual day for all Sai Baba devotees, you should write Thursday, the most spiritual day for all Sai Baba devotees. This small punctuation change makes your writing clearer and more professional. Remember, clarity in your sentences helps readers understand your message better. Repeating a noun after a preposition, always use the singular form. For instance, say kingdom after kingdom was conquered by Alexander, not kingdoms after kingdoms were conquered. The noun should also follow a singular verb in this structure. This rule helps maintain subject-verb agreement and keeps your sentences grammatically correct. Whenever you use the phrase one of, the noun that follows must be in the plural form. For example, one of my friends is working with the United Nations is correct, while one of my friend is working is not. This rule is crucial for expressing that you are referring to one among many, not just a single friend. In English, the word cousin stands alone and is never followed by brother or sister. For instance, say, I love my cousins the same way I love my own brother, not cousin brothers. This keeps your language natural and avoids redundancy. Remember, English often prefers concise expressions. When using a numeral adjective and a fraction with a noun, the noun is chiefly used with the numeral adjective. For example, say 2 chapati and a half, not 2.5 chapati. This structure helps clarify the quantity being described and avoids confusion. Always capitalize the first letter of a proper noun, including first, middle, and surnames, as well as adjectives derived from proper nouns. For example, write Imran Hashmi instead of Imran Hashmi. This rule also applies to adjectives like Indian or American. Proper capitalization shows respect for names and maintains standard writing conventions. Use quotation marks around the names of chapters, short stories, and poems. For example, the famous story Winking Woman is written by Charan Singh. This rule helps distinguish titles from the rest of the sentence and makes your writing clearer. Sometimes, proper nouns can be used as common nouns, but they require the definite article the. For example, Abhinash Yena is the Tendulkar of our colony. This usage draws a comparison and highlights a unique quality, making your language more expressive. Collective noun takes a singular verb and pronoun if its collective sense is felt. For example, the board has taken its decision. However, if the group is seen as individuals, use a plural verb and pronoun. The panel were divided in their opinion. Understanding this distinction helps you match verbs and pronouns correctly. Collective nouns are always considered neuter gender unless personified. For example, a bevy of young girls hold a candle march. It is determined to get Nirbhaya justice. Using it instead of she or they maintains grammatical accuracy unless the noun is personified. Material nouns like iron are always singular and do not take an article. For example, iron is used in all types of constructions, not the iron is used. This rule helps avoid unnecessary articles and keeps your sentences concise. Abstract nouns such as anger and greed are treated as singular subjects and always take a singular verb and pronoun. For example, anger and greed are despicable elements in a person. This rule ensures subject-verb agreement and clarity in your writing. When referring to bobbies, lower animals, or insects in general, use the neuter gender it. For example, the baby cries when it is hungry. This rule avoids confusion and maintains grammatical consistency. All non-living things take the neuter gender. For example, the doll is very dear to her, she takes it wherever she goes. Use it for objects unless they are personified, which we'll discuss in the next scene. If a non-living thing is personified and given masculine or feminine characteristics, use the appropriate gender pronoun. For example, the villagers pray the river as goddess as she provides them with food. This adds expressiveness and emotion to your writing. Some singular nouns look plural because they end in s or es, such as mathematics, news, or physics. Always use a singular verb and pronoun with these words. For example, mathematics is a branch of study. Certain nouns like advice, luggage, or information have no plural form and are always treated as singular. For example, Nor feared to keep her luggage in the cloakroom. Avoid addings to these words. Some nouns such as jeans, scissors, or glasses have no singular form and are always plural. For example, where have you kept my scissors? Use plural verbs and pronouns with these words. Some plural nouns like cattle appear singular but are always plural in meaning. For example, the cattle of Kerala are stronger than those of Odisha. Use plural verbs and pronouns for such nouns. Nouns denoting units of counting like dozen, hundred, or pair are not pluralized if a definite numeral adjective precedes them. For example, 20 pair of shoes, not 20 pairs of shoes. However, in the absence of a numeral, you can use the plural form, hundreds of people. Some nouns like aircraft, deer, or fish can be both singular and plural without changing form. For example, 100 aircraft were used in a performance. Context will help you determine if the noun is singular or plural. When showing possession with nouns ending in hissing sounds, only an apostrophe is needed, not s. For example, rakish uncle instead of rakish's uncle. This rule also applies to plural nouns ending in s. Personal possessive pronouns like yours, hers, or its are formed without an apostrophe. For example, it was signed as yours Nemrata. This rule helps avoid common spelling mistakes. When a noun phrase has several words, the possessive sign is added to the last word only. For example, Manat is Sheharuk Khan the actor's house. This keeps your sentences clear and grammatically correct. If two or more nouns denote joint possession, use the possessive sign only with the last noun. For separate possession, use the possessive sign with each noun. For example, Pinky and Sriman's reception joint, but Sachin's and Sehwag's boundaries separate. The possessive case is usually limited to living things. For non-living things, use of instead. For example, the cap of the pen instead of the pen's cap. However, non-living things can take the possessive case if personified or when denoting space, time, or weight, like a stone's throw. A pronoun must agree with its antecedent in number, gender, and person. For example, Ram's friends have arrived and they want to meet Ram immediately. This rule ensures clarity and avoids confusion in your sentences. When a pronoun refers to a collective noun, use the neuter gender it, even if the group consists of living things. For example, a bevy of beautiful girls made a spectacular sight. It is gathered for the contest. If two singular nouns refer to the same person, use a singular pronoun. If they refer to separate persons, use a plural pronoun. For example, my mentor and brother has his unique approach, but the poet and the singer are ill and cannot come. When two singular nouns are joined by and preceded by each or every, use a singular pronoun. Similarly, with either, or neither, nor, use a singular pronoun. For example, each boy and each girl has to switch his mobile off. When one pronoun denotes different persons, first, second, and third, the order is first person plural, then second, then third. For example, I, you, and Tabish have our own task to mind. This rule helps maintain clarity in sentences involving multiple people. If a pronoun is used as the object of a verb or preposition, it must be in the objective case. For example, I saw him driving the car, not I saw he driving. This rule ensures grammatical correctness in your sentences. Some verbs require a reflexive pronoun when used reflexively, such as avail. For example, he wants to avail himself a chance. However, verbs like feed or gather are never used reflexively. For example, the soldiers feed on branches, not feed themselves. When two things are mentioned, this refers to the last mentioned and that to the first. For example, a bulb and a fan are bare necessities. This gives you cool breeze and that gives you light. This rule helps avoid ambiguity. A relative pronoun must match its antecedent in number and person. For example, one of my friends who stay in New York is coming tomorrow. This ensures your sentences are both clear and grammatically correct. The relative pronoun should be placed as close as possible to its antecedent. For example, these biscuits, which are made from edible grass, are from Germany. This placement avoids confusion and keeps your writing precise. Use the comparative degree to compare two nouns and the superlative for more than two. For example, Manish is lazier between the two, and the crow is the cleverest of all birds. Always use the before the superlative form. Adjectives modify nouns while adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. For example, he always drives smoothly, not he always drives smooth. Placing words correctly ensures your sentences are both accurate and natural. Use a before words starting with a consonant sound and n before vowel sounds. For example, a union, an honest man. Do not use a or n before plural or uncountable nouns. Use the for specific references like the United States of America. Do not use the when talking about things in general, such as books are expensive or I love music. This rule helps keep your sentences natural and avoids unnecessary articles. Prepositions can be tricky. For example, use in for countries and large towns, at for small towns and villages. Use on for things at rest and upon for things in motion. Avoid redundant prepositions like in at his office. Use conjunctions correctly, both and either or neither nor. Maintain parallel structure such as he lost not only his ticket but also his luggage. This keeps your sentences balanced and easy to read. Ensure your verb agrees with the subject in number and person. For example, the hospitality of the villagers is to be learnt by all, not are. This rule is fundamental for clear and correct English. Congratulations, you've just explored over 150 essential English grammar rules and tips. Remember, mastering grammar is a journey, not a destination. Practice these rules in your daily writing and speaking to see real improvement. With consistent effort, you'll communicate more clearly, confidently, and effectively. Keep learning and let your English skills shine.